Hey everyone, this is the latest 2021 version of the Imperial Shuttle Lambda class from LEGO. This version is sized down compared to the last one we got in 2015, and they don't have any fluff here. They don't have anything on the side. It even has the absolute minimum crew complement with Luke, Vader, and a pilot for the thing. They were really trying to keep the price down. You know, this is part of the most recent trend of reducing the size, complexity, and thus price of common things in the Star Wars universe. So we've already gotten the slightly smaller but still very effective X-Wing, and we also got a TIE Fighter done in a similar way, and this is just the latest. And at first glance, to me, it actually looks pretty good, especially considering that it is a LEGO thing. It's not going for full, absolute 100% realism to the movie. Like, you have to have some, or to the props, you have to have some consideration of the fact that this is a LEGO thing, and we're dealing with a world where minifigures are not realistic at all to human proportions. So I personally am willing to accept some proportions, being a little bit off, especially for something that's trying to be cheaper here. I'm not trying to make excuses for this whatsoever. Rather, I'm telling you what I'm thinking as I look at this. I actually am very satisfied with the overall appearance of this at first. Of course, we will get in and look at some of the closer details, but I thought it was important to get an overview of it because, to me, the Lambda shuttles have always been just a thing of beauty, singular beauty almost, within the Star Wars universe. One of the most elegant ships, I think, in that entire world. And then you have to look at it like this, of course. And here again, just kind of taking it all in from a distance before getting down to the details, I am feeling the elegance of the Lambda shuttle design here. I am having flashbacks of chasing these things down in the original DOS X-Wing game, or maybe all the way up to X-Wing Alliance. And of course, we've seen these in a number of digital media and games and such since. And of course, they've been on screen, but just that closer connection for me of actually interacting with them. I feel that here. There aren't too many things about this that are done poorly at a macro level. When you stand back and you look at it overall. Once you get in closer, there's definitely plenty that can be nitpicked about, and there are some major misses as well. For me personally, most of the bad stuff is right up here at the cockpit. Now, the overall shape of it, I think, is okay. Certainly, the window section is a bit long there, but it has all this stuff underneath, all that. What is all that? It's all structure and such, and worse than that, of course, clear stand is not included with this set. I want to be very clear about that. But as you look at it from underneath, or even just directly on from the side, it's got gaps. And in fact, if you put a minifigure in there, you would see their legs right there in that gap. This opens up forward, which is an interesting design. Not a bad choice. Holds just one single figure up there. That's unfortunate. Let me put one in. So this is awkward. It looks like one of those typical situations with sleek cockpit canopies with LEGO builds where you would need to lean the figure way back. I mean, look at that slope back there. That clearly represents the back of the seat. But in this case, you don't need to lean your pilot way back. You can be sitting almost straight up. As a matter of fact, there's still a little bit of clearance underneath the canopy there. So that's actually not a bad look. However, it looks to me like there should be enough width for two people to sit side by side. Also, like I mentioned earlier, you can see under there, and that is something that's just hard to forget about. This figure, fortunately, does have the black color scheme, so it makes it less obvious, but you still see the hand there unless you hide that out of the way. Just all this stuff down here, I don't like. This part up here, even though this ought to be shorter, I'm okay with it. I think it's elegant enough. Again, considering LEGO style proportions. It's like a minifig proportioned version of this, and it's reasonable to me. Stud shooter, fake blasters here. These are click joints to move the side wings up and down, and there's the appropriate amount of friction there, I would say. It doesn't feel too tight or too loose. You do have the big gaps there, are a little bit thicker than usual for a build like this, but it's not bad. And you can get this to the correct angle easily. You can put it up to the correct angle easily. I don't like to see the blue, but fortunately there are not many other colors that you see As I say that, of course, there's a little bit of red right there, unfortunately. Got the rear-facing point defense cannons. This looks just fine. You know, it's nice and smooth and everything. Underneath there, I'm going to get into other things that you can open up and interact with. You've got 2 landing skids at the back, and those are just completely static. Those don't look bad to me. This one right here kind of does. You know, it would have been nice if these had been positioned more towards the center, so you don't even need to use this. But as it is right now, you know, it's a tricycle setup, whereas on the real Lambda shuttles, it was a bicycle setup, and then alternately you'd have a ramp come down towards the front that looked like it would provide stability, but it actually didn't. Here you have no ramp. The only way to access this is to open up the top. Previously, we've opened up the top from the sides. On this one, you just tilt all this back. Now, you're supposed to use this right here, this mechanism. You're supposed to push that in to unlock it. However, the locking mechanism does not work particularly well. So, never, ever hold this by the upper wing, by the upper fin, because just from the weight of the vehicle below, the craft below, it can open itself up. Okay. Oh, by the way, that right there is a print. Interesting, huh? It's a 4-stud wide slope, single print, no stickers in this set. So if I open this all the way, you get decent access inside, and it holds, whoop, there we go. Holds 2 people. So you've got a little spot, 4 studs right there for some legs, 4 studs right there for some legs, and then little spots off to the side where you can put their blasters, you know, some accessories or something. And that's it. That's too bad. Again, transport. Doesn't transport much. Fairly typical for Lego. I realized they were going for something smaller here, but it would have been nice to hold at least 4 people. There's just not enough room with the structure on the side that's holding all of this together. Speaking of structure holding things together, I already mentioned you don't want to hold this from the top, but if you're swishing it, what feels natural to me is to cradle it from underneath and then put a thumb on top, and that thumb can go wherever. I recommend that you don't put your thumb right here, however, because this can just pop right out. No structural support there. Doesn't give you much confidence. So put your thumb somewhere else, and it works okay to fly it around. Feels decent. Doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart or anything. Just again, never grab it from here, because that's what's going to happen. The figures are Return of the Jedi Vader and Luke, and then a shuttle pilot who they call an Imperial officer on the box, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with all of this. Everything that we're looking at here is just fine to me. Still waiting for the day that they update the Vader helmet again. The overall design here is really, really good, but definitely looks like he is looking up. That will never stop being the case for me. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. But the quality of the print work here is good. I even got 2 fairly good quality and consistent lightsaber hilts and blades, both. Yeah, I'm happy with this. It feels like they changed the material slightly for Vader's cape here. It's a little bit more deeply flocked on one side than it has been in the past. Looking underneath, you do get an alternate face for Luke, where he's a little bit happy. And this is the scarred up white head version of Vader with a slight smile, slightly satisfied look. No printing on the arms or on the sides of any of these figures. And then here are the spare parts, including extra studs for the stud shooters. And again, there were no stickers used in this set. The 2015 shuttle set came with well over 900 pieces and cost $100 US. If they were to re-release that one without any changes today, I'm sure they would price it at least $105, $110, something like that. Probably more, but I want to be relatively reasonable. I'll try. This comes with 660 pieces, and I bought it for $70 US. That's its retail price, $70 US. So the price is definitely way down compared to what it could be. Price to volume of stuff ratio, to me, by my eyes, looking at this right in front of me here, I mean, it's right here. You gotta sometimes worry about the wide angle camera effect, but yeah, this is its actual size, okay? Price to volume of stuff feels okay to me. Got to open it up like that to really appreciate it. Feels okay, not great. Could be better. I really liked the value for the X-Wing that they did, smaller and cheaper. TIE Fighter had its proportion problems, but the value there was so much better than the previous version, the last larger version. With this, again, it's just okay. It's not great. I'm a little bit disappointed. I wish that this just gave me a little bit more. Honestly, I would be willing to pay $80 US, no more, but $80 US if they fixed up just a few of the problems that I have with it. If they cleaned up this under here, right, which may have required some additional pieces. Okay, so that's why I'm giving them a little bit more budget. Would have been a stretch goal to get 2 people to fit into that cockpit. I think it's doable. Would have been really nice. But more important than that, to me, this storage space. Transports need to transport stuff. A people transport, troop transport needs to transport more than 2 people inside of it. Minimum of 3, I would say. Absolute bare minimum. At least this does technically hold all of the figures included in the set, right? Because they didn't include many figures in the set in the first place. But that really looks like it should hold 4 people. With minimal modifications, looking at it now, you actually can get it to hold 4 people. It's going to be cramped, but it is doable. So I think they should have made that possible. A minimum of 3 if they had to do 2 side by side, or maybe kind of a triangle pattern for them, and then just leave a little bit of blank area that you just throw some cargo in, or maybe put all of the accessories in one spot. It just doesn't feel like enough for the size of this thing, holding just 2 people, and that's it. So yeah, I would be willing to pay $80 to hold at least 3 people there, clean this up. I would really like to see 2 people in the cockpit for $80 as well. But on display, this definitely looks nice. This definitely, as a Lego Lambda shuttle, almost picked it up by the sale. As long as I don't look at it from underneath, as long as I don't pose it on the top shelf of a bookcase or on top of a bookcase or something like that, as long as it's at eye level or below, preferably a little bit below, it's beautiful. It looks really nice. Not everybody's going to agree with me on that. And, different people have different tolerances, understandably, for deviation from reality. To me, this looks like a well-proportioned minifig compatible thing, I can forgive proportion issues with this personally. I would really like to see this not as long, but I get it. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you want to see how this actually went together, how they built this whole thing with way fewer pieces than the last one, check out my pure build, which is in real time with no music or anything, no talking, or the speed build if you want to just relatively quickly go through the whole thing. Hope that I gave you enough information here and enough views of the actual product so you can come to your own conclusions. Share what you think about it, if you would like, with myself and other viewers in the comment section down below, and I will talk to you again soon.